Mentre affondo nella certezza che questo sta per succedere, lascio andare una perfetta mia storia, mia storia.
Hello and welcome to another interview for our classical crossover interview series. And today we have with us as our special guest, the Athena Trio. Hello.
Hello.
How are you all today? You okay?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. So I'm just going to do like a kind of round robin and get you to introduce yourselves. And so we'll start with Ellen.
Okay, my name's Ellen. And I'm 1/3 of Athena Trio.
Exactly, excellent. And then we have Guara.
Hi, I'm Gwawr, another third of the trio.
and then we have finally Sinead.
Yes, I'm Sinead. I'm the short one in the trio.
I love it. Okay, so for those in our audience that don't know much about Athena Trio, I wondered if one of you would like to take us through a little bit about how you got together and kind of how you formed as a group, and just start off with that, and then we'll just ask more questions as we go through.
Okay, well, I can go on. So we're a classical crossover trio from Wales, the land of song, and we've sang as soloists for many years. And the last couple of years came together to form this trio. That was in 2017, wasn't it? 2017. So we were in a concert singing as soloists, and we obviously sang a piece together just because it was part of the concert and it was nice to do and we all enjoyed it. And the audience thought that was brilliant, and we hadn't really heard much of that at the time, and so we were encouraged to carry on, and then Athena formed. So
Awesome. So I know that you're all your own individual artists in your own right. How is it now you're in a group? Do you find that it's more exciting working as a group, or do you find you want a part that someone else has got sometime? How do you find that working like that?
Really. Ellen's usually on the top, Shauna's usually on the bottom, and I'm usually in the middle. And that falls perfectly for our voices, so it's easier to arrange then. So we don't argue over parts at all.
Oh, perfect. And so tell us a little bit about your respective voice types. How do you make, for anyone that doesn't really know about how singers work with sopranos and mezzo sopranos, how does that kind of work, and why did you choose it that way?
I think with all three of us, have different sort of colours to our voices, and I think so far we found that they work well together. And me being a mezzo, I usually end up in line. So what we were saying about the melody, I hardly ever get the melody. So when I do, I'm like, I've got the melody.
Have a little party, a melody party.
Yeah, definitely. So, but Ellen's sort of right up at the top, and then Guard is also a soprano. So, I don't know, guys. Do you have a scrap sometimes that I don't know about when you take to the top line?
I think it's sort of clear cut. So I class myself sort of more of a lyric coloratura soprano. So I sing the high notes and there's flexibility and all the fast bits sort of thing. And then Guaud has a lovely lyric voice and brings a lovely richness to the trio.
So, lovely. So Guaud, you get the long crescendo part.
Well, it kind of works, being that my voice is a bit more lyrical, that then I'm in the middle. It kind of suits it like that. And Sinead has a lovely bass.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ellen is really great to have those really high top notes, So, like I said previously, it really works well for us.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I think we tried to alternate different parts just to have a variation. But we've kind of settled into it really works better with Len
Yeah.
and Sinead on the whole. Anyway, we sometimes, kind of switch, but
Yeah.
majority of the time we stick to that.
And when you're singing, like because you've been together a few years now, how do you feel that it's kind of helped you as singers working so closely with other singers rather than just being a soloist?
For me, I love working with Gwawr and Ellen because often what you find as a soloist, the job can get a little bit lonely sometimes, and you travel, you pack a case, you know, traveling somewhere, and you do the job and you come back. But when you've got your friends with you as well, it's just lovely. We are very girly, all three of us, and you know, we walk into a dressing room and then it's just like a bomb site by the time we leave. There's sun, there's hairspray, you name it, it's all out. But there is a really nice camaraderie, I think, and it's more fun for me, definitely. So yeah, for sure.
It is more fun in the dressing room. You can be, like Sean had mentioned, lonely, and you're just waiting for your turn to get on stage. And But when we're together, we have so much fun, and obviously it's fun, and also learning. Doing arrangements and learning the songs, and we have banter, and sometimes we get a few moves.
I was going to say, do you have some special dance moves, kind of not dance moves, but you know, things that you do on cue? Is it all very natural?
We did actually one of our pieces because we needed a last minute routine of some sorts, and I think I said this, and Sean got very stressed about having something. So I said, you know what? You know the Macarena. So on with the Macarena. And we've taken the Macarena and added it as one of the moves in one of our songs. So if you ever see us doing the Shirley Bassey medley, there's a Macarena move.
I am so there. I can't wait to see that, seriously. So I know you sing like I've been looking at your repertoire, and you sing a real vast selection of pieces, and I mean, if you haven't seen the Athena Trio, please start looking them up, because they have got these most gorgeous voices. And with their repertoire, I was just wondering, because you are all from Wales, do you prefer singing in your Welsh language, or do you enjoy singing in the other languages just as much? Which is your kind of favorite, or do you have a favorite, or are they all the same? So
I reckon for me personally, I really love singing in Welsh, because you just feel like you're home, properly home, even if you're singing, you know, even if you're somewhere else sort of, and you're singing Welsh and you just take a little piece of Wales with you. It's just really nice. But you know, we all enjoy singing in different languages. Yeah, definitely.
I think the Welsh language is probably one of the most underrated languages. It's so beautiful. For me, I think it's so beautiful. And I kind of wish that at school we were taught about our own languages within UK, because it's not until you're older that you really discover the Welsh language and its idiosyncrasies, and it's just so pretty. I mean, some people say that the best singers come from Wales because it is, you know, sing-songy. I didn't say that, you know, but a lot of people do. And I just think that to be able to sing in your own language is just, it must just feel really special, because it really is special.
Well, it comes from the soul, doesn't it? Whichever language is your mother tongue, and
Yeah.
for the three of us, it's our mother tongue. So when you sing, I love singing in all languages. I really do. But when you sing in your own language, it's just that's something extra from your heart, because it comes from within. Even more.
I see that you're doing a lot of singing, because we're in this weird kind of lockdown life at the moment. I see that you're doing this really wonderful project at the moment called the Sunday Sessions, and I've listened to quite a few of the recordings now, and so just tell us a little bit about how that came around, and how you managed to work with the Vesta Trio and able to record it, and just let us know a little bit about that.
I think there were so many artists at the time who were really up for doing something online because everyone had obviously lost so much work. And for us, we were due to start a series of new cruise contracts, and we had a whole list of new songs and new repertoire, new arrangements. And it just felt like, you know, we could sort of just record these. And so, yeah, it was something just to start the Sunday sessions, and nice to get to know a few other artists that we hadn't sang with before.
Right. Okay. And how do you record that? Do you record that all separately with your part and then put it together in editing, or is there a way you do it on Zoom? Tell us about that process.
Helen's the editing guru, basically.
Very lucky.
I'm no guru, but I've certainly learned a lot during the lockdown, as I'm sure lots of us have.
Yeah.
I think we tried doing it over Zoom once, but the delay was just, I mean, it sounded awful. So
Really? Yeah. It's not easy, is it? So how long does it take you to kind of edit one song with musicians? How long would you say it takes to edit something like that together?
well, I think the one recording we did with the Vesta Trio, so there would be 6 people on the screen. I mean, that took me a while because I'm learning as we go, but I think I'm getting quicker now, and it's a strange new world we find ourselves in. So, I mean, many more musicians every day are buying all these microphones, the high-tech gear, becoming your home recording artist. So I think it's just the way that not the industry is going, but I think these elements that are new now will probably stay around as well.
Yeah. And do you feel like from this this new project, the Sunday Sessions, do you feel like it's going to turn into something more? Do you think you'll put an album together of all of the songs that you made from the Sunday Sessions or something like that? Have I given you?
Well, we could do. I don't know. We've had a bit of a pause with the Sunday sessions. We could bring them back. So, yeah. Who knows?
Because I was looking on your socials and it looks quite recent. So maybe I think it's something you should definitely continue, because I thought they were amazing.
We have we've had some issue with social media. We've had to get a new account for our Instagram. So that was probably the last thing we posted on our old one, but we can't one. So.
Okay. Well, tell us what is your latest what's your new Instagram account? Where should everyone go?
So we're now official Athena Trio.
Official Athena Trio. Okay. So was there an issue with another Athena band or something? Because I know it's not easy. I mean, I remember when I started releasing my music, I looked on iTunes and there was another Natasha Hardy, and I was like, I thought I was the only one, obviously, but she writes books. And then I think there's another Natasha Hardy who's a professional athlete, and so it can be a little bit of a minefield, can't it?
I think there's oh, sorry.
No, I was just about to say, I think there are a few different groups or people, you know, it's called Athena.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one.
For us, it was more technical than anything else. It just the account just vanished.
Oh no!
So we couldn't have access into it, so it was just more technical than anything else.
Oh, okay. Well, look, you've heard it here, guys. Everyone, you need to go to the official Athena Instagram account, but they've also got a really, really wonderful YouTube account. And I mean, I'm a real YouTube fan, because you can quickly switch through videos and you don't have to go to the next watch now thing. So yeah, check them out on YouTube as well. So I've got another question here, because as you can tell, I've been doing my research about it. And I was just going to ask you, because I actually went on all of your own websites as my part of my research, and I can see that you've actually all performed wonderful repertoire and in different performances. But what was interesting for me is the amount of performance venues that you've performed in. And I was just wondering if I could ask, maybe as individuals, but also collectively, what were your favorite venues to perform in and why? Oh, let's start with Ellen.
Okay, I think on my own, where have I performed? I sang in Cadogan Hall in London, which was that felt like something special to me at the time. That was a few years ago, so I feel like it was an achievement for me then. So it'll always be special because I remember it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really beautiful there, isn't it? Because the acoustics are really, really wonderful as well, and
Yeah.
the whole experience is just wonderful. Even I can't imagine as an artist, because I haven't performed there, but as an audience member, it just gives you that real tingle when you walk in and see someone.
Yeah, and somehow because it's quite long and a bit narrow, it feels more intimate in a way that it's still a big space, but you get that intimacy as well. So,
Yeah.
so that was that's an achievement for me. But I mean, Athena, we recently, it feels like not that long ago because the lockdown just blurs everything into one. But December time, we were in the Royal Albert Hall, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, that was my first time singing there with Gwar and Sioned. So that'll be one to remember.
And what did it feel like when you went into the Royal Albert Hall?
For me personally, I bigged it up in my head so much on the way down on the train. I thought, oh my God, it's huge, it's huge, it's huge. Ah, nervous. And then when I walked on the stage, I just thought, wow, this is so beautiful. And I didn't get any of that anxiety I was worried about. It was just
that's lovely. So you just went into performance mode and then that's it. Didn't matter where you were.
Yeah, it was nice to think about just for 1 second about all the amazing artists that have performed there. You know, when you think to the last night of the proms, and you know, you just think, oh my goodness, it's such an amazing venue, but it's got all of those kind of voices still there somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was quite an awesome moment.
Yeah, I can imagine the amount of energy that is just like reverberating, like you can't even see it, but you can just feel it.
Definitely.
And for you, Gwara, how do you think it compares from performing in the Royal Albert Hall to anywhere else that you've performed?
Well, yes, it was amazing. It was our first time as a trio. I've also sung there as a soloist years ago.
Oh wow, that must be, so it was like your second time there, so you're like, oh yeah, I've been here, done this.
No, but it was lovely to be there with the girls though as well, you know, it was just a lovely moment for us. But we also sang last year at the Wales Millennium Centre as a trio as well.
Beautiful.
And yeah, and as a soloist. So that, and being that's in Cardiff and our home kind of theatre, that's lovely to perform there as well.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pick your favourite place really, because so many, I think Birmingham Symphony Hall is a wonderful place to sing as a soloist, because the acoustics there are wonderful. Yeah, so many places.
Sioned, sorry. Do you have somewhere really special that feels very, very special?
I think when I first started out, I think one of my first professional engagements, I think I must have been about 18 or 19 years old. I sang in St. David's Cathedral, and it's such a beautiful building, and the setting outside as well, and it was a gorgeous summer's day, and it really sort of sticks in my mind as not just an amazing venue, but it was that feeling of, this is what I want to do. So whenever I think of a venue, it kind of conjures up all of those nice feelings of, yeah, it felt right, and that's the place, in my head, that's the place I always go to when I think about that was really nice. That was good.
Really special. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. How does it feel? Because I see that you've done quite a few performances on television. How does that compare to when you're when you're in such a huge venue with a big audience, to then being in like a TV studio with all of the cameras and the lights and the, you know, the kind, just that you don't really have an audience, you have a crew. How does that compare as like performer?
I think it's always good to have a buzz of a, you know, a live venue, you know, and just you have a connection with the audience, whereas maybe some, you know, if you're recording for TV, the atmosphere is different, and also you don't get the same energy, and maybe you have to retake for some reason, and it becomes more mechanical rather than sort of authentic, I guess, in sort of in the creative process. But yeah, I mean, it's just different. So
yeah,
just adapt,
I mean,
I guess.
I think, and one thing that I've noticed about you as a group, you really coordinate. You all look so beautiful. I love your dresses. I saw a picture where you've got the kind of diamante dresses, and I was just like, oh, I want them. Is that one of the real fun things about being as a group, being able to coordinate? No. Is it a nightmare?
Yes, it's fun.
Two, I think, would be easier, but then to add the third one in every time is always harder, I think.
Right, yeah. I guess it's a bit like
what you were saying about the performing on telly or live. What I found, I don't know about you girls, but what I found, I've had to learn the difference in a theatre or anywhere live. Your facial expressions are very expressive, but when you're on TV, from experience, you have to tone it down, otherwise you're very animated.
Yeah, it's so true, and that's one of the things that I've actually found with doing these interviews, because you're so close to the camera. I move around too much, but I can't do it. I can't kind of keep still, so I completely understand.
Back and you're like, oh gosh.
Exactly. So I know that you're all really, really coordinated on a very, very special picture, which was actually your album cover. And you released your album Encore in 2018. So it probably seems like a long time ago now, but tell us a little about that album, how it came into being, and what your plans are for any future music that you're going to release.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, Encore came about because it was a collection of all the songs we were singing at the time, and we'd kind of just discovered our sound as a trio, which is a mixture of, we have those Welsh songs in there, and we have some opera in there and some folk songs, and I'm trying to think what else was on the CD. There's some light music as well. There's a whole mix of just songs that are nice to listen to, sort of thing. It's a crossover CD without necessarily doing all the crossover classics, but we did have things like Nella Fantasia on it, and that was the first song that we sang on television when we sort of launched ourselves as a trio. O mio babbino caro, so a few of those.
Yeah,
and some of our own arrangements as well, actually, which was good to have on there.
I was going to say, I mean, it must have been really interesting and quite exciting to take these, what you would call like kind of classical crossover classics, but actually arranging them for a trio, because it's not easy to do that, especially because some of the songs are just for one voice. Who did your arrangements? Did you do that yourself, or did you work with an arranger?
I think we all chip in together. Yeah, you know, we feel like if I've got a really strong idea about an arrangement, then I'll do it, or I'll say I'm not really sure about this, and then one of the other girls will have an idea about it. So we kind of figure it out as, you know, as we go along. We do have some arrangements that were done for us as well by some amazing musicians. So I guess you could say a little bit of everything, really.
Wow,
that's what we had done, and that is quite epic, in my opinion. The accompanist Jeffrey Howard from Cardiff, he arranged that for us, and it's quite amazing.
Yeah, I've listened to, I think, about half of the album. So after this, I'm probably going to go and listen to the rest of it. But it really, really is beautiful. So if you're watching and you haven't heard the Athena Trio's album yet, it's called Encore, and you can find it on Amazon. You'll probably find it on all other platforms as well, but I actually went onto Amazon, and it's really, really beautiful. I know that you're going to love it. And so we're coming to kind of the end of our interview, and so what I usually have been thinking about doing is like a little quick fire round of some fun questions, because this pandemic has kind of taken the fun out of life, and I'm just so want to inject more fun into everything. And so I'm going to I want you to take it in turns to answer these questions. So we'll start with Ellen, and then we'll go to Gaura. I'm really sorry. I feel so embarrassed about my accent. And then Sinead. And we'll just keep going like that until the questions are ended. But I'll let you know when they're ended. So, and they're going to be quick. So as soon as you finish, the next one's going to be asked. So here we go. Okay, first one. Ellen, name a song that makes you want to dance.
Dancing in the Moonlight, Top Loader.
Awesome. What what do you wish, Guara, what do you wish you knew more about?
Oh my goodness, everything. I wish I knew more about languages. I'd love to speak a lot of languages. I'd like to be fluent in a lot of languages.
I agree with that. I'd love to be fluent in lots of languages too. It's a good answer. Sinead, what was the last thing that you bought online?
Clothes. Easy.
Yay. Okay, next. What was the first concert you ever went to, Ellen?
The Magic Flute at Welsh National Opera, I think.
Oh, wow. Is that what inspired you to become a singer?
Partly, yeah. I don't know if it was the first one, but it's definitely one of my earliest memories.
Wow, that's such a beautiful performance to go to. So, Guara, what is your ultimate comfort food?
Thai food. I love Thai.
Any favorite dish?
Thai green curry is
Oh, yeah, nice. Chicken or vegetable?
prawn.
Prawn. Ah, now we're talking. And Sinead, what is your most used app on your phone?
What is my most used app on my phone? Amazon.
Clothing, I think, again. There we go. Okay, we're coming to the end of the questions now. Ellen, would you go skydiving?
Absolutely not. One of those things I would never do. No, my partner's done it and we think he's crazy for it.
Oh, excellent. Guara, what is the one place in the world that you haven't visited yet that you'd like to go to?
At the top of my bucket list is Japan.
Japan. Oh, nice.
Japan, I really
Nice.
want to go there.
Yeah. And what time of year would you go? Spring, summer, winter?
Spring, maybe. I'm not sure. I just want to go.
Okay. I'm just going to go anytime, as soon as the planes go there again.
Yes.
Okay. And then lastly, Sinead, what is your favorite language to sing in? Oh, I can't ask this question because I already know the answer. So I'm going to ask you one of the last questions. Okay, here we go. If you got stuck on a desert island with a fictional character, who would you want it to be?
Oh, a fictional character. Oh my goodness, I can't think. Oh, I know who I wouldn't want to be stuck with.
Okay.
Harry Potter.
He would turn you into something uncanny. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to ask each one of you the same question, which is really important to us at Classical Crossover Magazine. And because classical crossover really, really is quite hard to find sometimes. So we're very interested in what people think. What does classical crossover mean? So Ellen, what does classical crossover mean to you?
I think it's a huge umbrella of genres, and you can take something and put a classical stamp on it by singing in a classical way, or if it has if it sort of sounds similar to another classical piece. I think this is why you ask people. It's quite a broad thing that you can class under. I think for me personally, if things are sang in a classical way, then you can put it in the classical crossover bracket.
I like that. I like that answer. And Guara, what would you say to what you think about what classical crossover means to you?
Personally, about classical crossover is the mix of different genres. Whether it's, I mean, everybody thinks of it as the typical opera, um, sung, operatic voice singing something pop. That's the typical thought, I think, that's with most people. But for me, you can take jazz and classical, which is, or jazz and something else, or the mishmash of loads of genres. And I think you can come up with some amazing music when you do that. And I love that kind of thing, just experimenting.
Yeah, I like that description. And Sinead, what does classical crossover mean to you?
I think it's a way of bridging the gap between sort of, your sort of purist classical music, and it's a good way of introducing maybe somebody who's not really that into classical music at all. Sort of it softens the blow a little bit, I think. It bridges the gap between genres. And, it sparks interest in things like opera, and surely that can't be bad, for people to take up interest in things like that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and what I find interesting is a lot of people listen to classical crossover and they don't even really know that they're listening to classical crossover.
Mm-hmm.
And I often say to people, "Oh, do you know that this is a classical crossover song?" No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just a nice song. And so that's why I think it's really interesting just to find out as artists what you think classical crossover means. So to wrap everything up, I'd just like to finally ask what your plans are now for the future.
Well, I think we've sort of made good use of this time in that we've been doing a lot of arranging and learning new material, and we are sort of focused on hopefully the events that were cancelled for us in this year. Most of them hopefully will be going ahead next year, so we're just kind of being as prepared as we can really for just hitting the ground running for when it's good to go, really.
Yeah.
Really use the time wisely, though, to come up with so much more material. We have massive repertoire, which is fantastic. And we were only discussing this morning, actually, a new song that we've literally learned today that Ellen came up with. It's like an Argentinian tango. And
oh, wow, that sounds amazing.
More of that style as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So please just let us know when you're going to release that, because we'd be really interested to hear what's in the work. So please stay in touch. So I just want to say thank you so much, Ellen. Thank you so much, Guara. Thank you so much, Sinead, for joining us today for Classical Crossover Magazine interview series. You are wonderful girls. You have been so interesting, and just it's actually, for me as a singer, it's actually so interesting to hear you all work together as a group. So thank you so much for letting us get a bit of an insight into your life as performers and artists, and we look forward to seeing you next time. So if you'd just like to say bye to everyone, that would be great, and we will see all of you next time. Thank you again. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.